This is Jonathan Cahn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. When you look at what's happening in the world, it's easy to wonder what's going on, and are things out of control? Is this what the Bible foretold? Is the end near? What do I need to know about the future? Where's it all going? How can I be prepared? What is God's prophetic word for the hour and for me? On this channel, you're going to find prophetic updates, the mysteries of God, daily words for life, biblical revelation, prophetic teachings, and much more. I pray it's going to be a great blessing to you in the days ahead. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time there's a new video that's posted. Leave a comment as to how God is blessing you. And don't forget to share these videos with friends who need to hear them. Thanks again, and God bless you. Shalom.
Time is not an endless river without bends or destinations. It moves toward appointed moments, moments that are not random but written before the foundations of the earth. We live our days thinking the clock only counts hours, but heaven measures time in seasons, in callings, in appointed windows, and now we are standing on the edge of one of those windows. August 13th, 2025 is not simply another date you will cross off your calendar. It is a moment marked in eternity, a threshold where decisions will echo far beyond that day, shaping destinies, families, nations, and even the course of the church. It is a God-ordained intersection where mercy and truth meet, where the patience of the Lord stretches out one more time before the winds shift. There are moments in history where God draws a line, not to harm, but to awaken. Before judgment, there is always mercy. Before the storm, there is always a whisper. Before the closing of the door, there is always a knock. This is that moment. For months, perhaps years, heaven has been sending signals through events, through signs in creation, through a growing stirring in the hearts of His people. Some have felt it as a discomfort they can't explain. Others have felt it as a pressing urgency to change course. The Spirit has been speaking, but not all have been listening. Now the time has come when listening will no longer be optional. It will be the difference between standing and falling. Do not think of this as superstition or the fear-mongering of men. The God who set the sun, moon, and stars in place also set appointed times into His plan. Israel had its appointed feasts, moments when God commanded His people to gather, repent, celebrate, or prepare. Those who obeyed walked into blessing. Those who ignored the call often walked into calamity. August 13th, 2025 is one of those kinds of appointed moments not given to Israel alone, but to the world. It is a day pregnant with consequence where the spiritual climate will shift. The window of mercy will not vanish instantly, but it will narrow, and those who have hardened themselves will find it harder still to hear His voice after this day passes. Why is it critical? Because decisions made in this moment will not be short-term adjustments. They will be long-term trajectories. If you choose compromise now, compromise will not stay small. It will grow roots. If you choose righteousness now, that righteousness will not stay small. It will become your anchor. Heaven's invitation is clear. Turn now while the door is open wide. Step into alignment, because what is coming will separate those who are ready from those who are merely hoping to be ready. We must understand the nature of a closing window. It is not that God suddenly becomes unkind or unwilling to forgive. It is that our own hearts change. Every time we hear the call and delay, we train ourselves to delay again. Every time we feel the conviction and push it aside, the voice grows fainter. The enemy of your soul doesn't need you to rebel loudly. He only needs you to postpone obedience. And in this appointed time, postponement will cost more than you think. The narrowing window means the luxury of indecision is disappearing. The longer you wait, the harder it will be to step through. History shows us that before great shakings, whether in nations or in the church, there is always a period of warning. Noah had a window before the flood, and though the rain had not yet fallen, the ark was already being built. Lot had a window before Sodom's destruction, but the city looked the same as it did the day before. The disciples had a window before the crucifixion, but it seemed like just another Passover week. Outwardly, nothing seemed urgent, But heaven knew the hour, and those who did not prepare found themselves swept away in the aftermath. In the same way, August 13th will arrive like any other day in the natural. People will go to work. Markets will open. The news will carry its usual stories, but in the unseen realm, the scales will tip and the balance will shift. This is not a call to hide in fear. It is a call to rise in readiness. God is extending mercy not to paralyze you, but to position you. The mercy of God is not passive, it is purposeful. It comes to give you the strength to act before the shaking begins. But mercy has a pattern. It appears, it lingers, and then it lifts. The lifting is not punishment. It is the reality that seasons change. What you can do now with ease may be harder to do later. If you wait until the winds roar, you may still repent, but you will do so amid greater cost. We are in a prophetic window where the choices are being recorded, not in human archives, but in heaven's books. The choice to forgive or to hold a grudge. The choice to obey the nudge of the Spirit or to suppress it. The choice to return to prayer or to keep drifting. Each choice is a seed, and August 13 will mark a shift in the soil where those seeds are planted. Some seeds will begin to grow quickly after that date. Others will begin to wither. The soil of the spiritual atmosphere will change. And what is easy to grow now may be impossible to grow later without much labor and tears. Think of the parable of the 10 virgins. All 10 had lamps. All 10 knew the bridegroom was coming, but only 5 prepared with oil in advance. The others waited until the last moment, only to find the door closed. Jesus was not cruel to them. The reality was that preparation cannot be borrowed in the final hour. Oil must be gathered before the cry is heard. In the same way, August 13th is a point before the midnight cry. It is a moment to check your oil, to trim your lamp, to ensure you have enough for what is coming. Do not assume that because you have heard these words before, you can take your time. A prophetic window is a narrowing moment. It does not wait for convenience. Some will mock this warning. They will say, "We have heard such things before, and nothing happened." They will shrug at the signs as people did in Noah's day. But mockery does not cancel prophecy. It only fulfills it. The very fact that many will dismiss the urgency is one of the signs of the times. Others will feel the stirring but will be distracted by lesser things, by busyness, entertainment, or even noble causes that are not their main calling. Distraction is as deadly as disbelief when the clock is running out. For the prepared, this will not be a day of dread, but of clarity. The Spirit will sharpen your vision. You will know where to plant, where to build, where to sow, where to withdraw. You will see divine alignments and connections that had been hidden. The weight you have felt in prayer will lift into action, and you will walk not in panic, but in purpose, because you responded to the whisper before the shout. For the unprepared, this will be a turning point of another kind. It will not necessarily be an immediate catastrophe, but a shift into a season where the absence of preparation becomes increasingly costly. Doors that were open will be harder to open again. Opportunities to reconcile will become more difficult. Habits that were easy to break will harden into chains. This is why the Spirit is urging you now before the window narrows. The mercy of God is here now, like the stillness before dawn. It is the kind of stillness where you can hear the smallest sound, the faintest prompting. Use it. Seek Him while He may be found. Call upon Him while He is near. Do not let pride, fear, or comfort keep you from stepping into the light. This is not about living in anxiety. It is about living in alignment. When you align with heaven's timing, you are not caught off guard. You are carried by the current of His will. And so I say again, August 13th, 2025 is not an ordinary date. It is an appointed threshold. The choices you make leading up to it are the choices you will carry beyond it. Mercy is extended, but not forever. The invitation is open, but not indefinitely. The Spirit is speaking now. And to those who have ears to hear, this is the time to listen, to move, to decide. When the day comes, let it find you ready, not scrambling. Let it find you awake, not slumbering. For the window of decision is closing, and once it closes, the season will never be the same again. God is not silent before a shaking. He never has been and he never will be. His nature is mercy, and mercy always speaks before judgment moves. Before the flood, there was Noah's voice crying out in a world that thought it had more time. Before Sodom's fire, there were angels warning Lot to flee. Before the destruction of Jerusalem, prophets walked its streets, pleading with the people to return to the Lord. Yet over and over, the pattern has been the same. A warning is given, the signs are plain, the evidence builds, but the people dismiss it. They say, "It has always been this way, nothing will change." They mock the messenger and they ignore the message. And then, when the moment comes, it arrives not as a surprise to God, but as a shock to them. The same pattern is unfolding in our time. Heaven has been speaking. The signs are not hidden in some obscure code. They are visible to anyone who will look with open eyes. Political unrest is shaking nations like a tree in the wind. Governments are not steady. They are swaying. Leaders rise and fall like waves in a storm. Divisions deepen, trust collapses, and people feel the ground shifting beneath their feet. Economies that once seemed unshakable are now trembling under the weight of instability. Markets swing wildly, currencies weaken, and the security people once trusted in is proving to be an illusion. Nature itself is speaking. Storms intensify, droughts stretch longer, earthquakes shake the ground where they should not, and the seasons feel out of order. These are not random coincidences. They are the groanings of creation, the early tremors before the greater shaking. And yet, even as the signs converge, there is a dangerous calm in the hearts of many. It is not the peace of God, it is the numbness of complacency. Warnings have gone out, but they have been brushed aside. We've heard these things before, people say. Life goes on. And so they move forward as though the shaking will not touch them. But when you ignore a warning, you do not remove the danger. You remove your protection from it. You do not change the storm. You only ensure you face it without shelter. This is the nature of a God-sent warning. It is not meant to scare you, but to spare you. It is not to create panic, but to prepare you. But preparation takes humility. It requires admitting that you cannot control the storm and that you must seek the one who can. Ignoring the warning is not an act of strength. It is an act of pride. And pride is the very thing that will make the impact of the coming events greater for those who refuse to listen. August 13th, 2025 is not just a date. It is a convergence point where multiple streams of tension are meeting. In the natural, you may not see an immediate explosion, but in the spiritual, there will be a shift, a turning of the tide that will release waves in the physical, emotional, and spiritual realms. Some will experience it as an intensifying of clarity, power, and divine positioning. Others will feel it as a sudden collapse of false securities. The difference will not be in God's power. It will be in the response to His warning. Those who have heard and prepared will weather the storm under His covering. Those who have ignored will feel its full force. Spiritual upheaval will be the first wave. Those who have built their faith on shallow ground, on routine, on tradition without transformation, will find their foundations cracking. The shaking will expose what is genuine and what is imitation. Churches that have been more concerned with comfort than with truth will face a sifting. Individuals who have avoided dealing with hidden sin or spiritual drift will find it harder to stand when the pressure increases. This is not because God desires to destroy, but because the shaking leaves no room for pretense. It strips away the outer shell and reveals the core. Emotional upheaval will follow closely. When the things people trust in are shaken, fear will rise. Anxiety will spread faster than the events themselves. People will search for stability, but if they have rejected the warning, they will search in the wrong places, in human promises, in quick fixes, in distractions that cannot hold. Relationships already under strain will feel the weight. Families that have ignored the call to unity will experience division. The shaking will not create these fractures. It will expose and widen the ones that were already there. And then there will be the physical upheaval. This may come in the form of sudden events that disrupt daily life, economic shocks, natural disasters, civil unrest. Not all will happen in a single day, but the trajectory will shift. The structures people thought were stable will prove fragile. The resources they assumed would always be available may suddenly be limited. These are the kinds of impacts that a warning is meant to help you avoid or endure. But when the warning is ignored, the impact is magnified because you have neither the preparation nor the covering you could have had. Think of it like a shelter before a hurricane. If you heed the warning, you gather what you need, secure your home, and take refuge in a safe place. The storm still comes, but you are protected. If you ignore the warning, the storm comes just the same, but you are exposed to its full force. The damage is greater, the recovery is harder, and the cost is higher. God's warnings are the shelter. His call to repent, to turn, to prepare, to align. They are not burdens. They are lifelines. Right now, we are in the season of the warning. The door of mercy is open. The invitation to draw near is still being offered. But a warning unheeded becomes a judgment endured. This is the danger of indifference. The enemy does not need to make you deny God. He only needs to make you delay your response to Him. Delay long enough and the window closes, not because God stops loving you, but because the season changes. If you are feeling the weight of this message, it is not to crush you. It is to awaken you. The Spirit is stirring hearts to get their house in order, not just their physical house, but their inner life. This is the time to deal with the things you have been putting off. The unforgiveness, the compromise, the prayer life you've neglected, the obedience you've delayed. These are the areas that will determine how you stand when the shaking intensifies. And make no mistake, the signs are not slowing down. Political unrest is deepening. We are watching alliances form and break in ways that are reshaping global power. Economies are like fragile glass, shiny on the surface, but one strike away from shattering. Nature is warning us with a voice that grows louder each season. These are not isolated events. They are converging. And convergence is a sign that an appointed time is near. When Jesus spoke of the last days, He told us to watch. Watching is not passive. It is active readiness. It is discerning the season and aligning with God's purposes. It is living with urgency but without fear. But you cannot watch if you have closed your eyes to the signs. You cannot align if you refuse to acknowledge the direction. This is why ignoring the warning is so dangerous, because it blinds you to the very things meant to guide you. On August 13th, the shift will not be visible to everyone, but it will be felt. In the unseen realm, lines will be drawn. The Spirit will be searching for those whose hearts are fully His, ready to be positioned for what comes next. Those who have heard the warning will be found in the place of prayer, in obedience, in readiness. Those who have ignored will be found scrambling to catch up, trying to build shelter in the middle of the storm. This is not about predicting a single catastrophic event. It is about recognizing the turning of a spiritual season. Seasons change quietly in the natural world. The first day of autumn does not always feel different from the last day of summer, but the shift has happened. In the same way, this spiritual shift may not be marked by fireworks or headlines, but from that point forward, the conditions will be different. The cost of ignoring the warning will increase. So now is the moment to act. Respond to the voice of the Lord. Turn from the things that dull your spirit. Strengthen what remains. Repair what is broken. Do not wait for the shaking to prove the warning was real. By then, the proof will be of no comfort. Let the warning move you now while mercy is abundant, while the